Palestinian myself, I just can't see this injustice going on and turn a blind eye and move on to other stories. It comes down to your priorities, you know. Um, and this is not just about me specifically. There are other journalists, many of them before me, and there are many more to come who will face the same consequences for standing up to what's right. I believe this must happen. Some people like us will sacrifice their careers for the truth to prevail in the end. Um, I obviously felt like I was disappointed, honestly. I wanted to believe in this organization, in the claims of diversity and inclusion, in the claims of empowering journalists of minorities, but my experience has been completely the opposite of this. So I was disappointed. However, the passion inside is not really connected to one organization, right? As you said, if you do this because you have a passion to tell the stories, because you have a passion, you believe in what you're doing. And this is what I believe too. Um, right now, I lost the audience of Global News, but I certainly have the audience of the whole world. Right now, I can tell my stories literally to the whole world. I don't need a specific platform to empower my voice, unfortunately. I wanted that. I wanted to bring in some change to legacy newsrooms in the West, but some people just don't want that. So this is not going to stop me, of course. This is not going to stop any person who's passionate about justice to the Palestinians, whether they're a journalist or not. And I would certainly keep going.
And as you speak, I can sense the passion and the deep love you have not only for the media space but for the cause of the Palestinian people. And we were just talking about this with my colleagues earlier about how Palestinians are just so passionate about telling their stories. I mean, you can see children as young as 5, 10, cameras in hand, microphones in hand, out there saying, this is what's happening, and we want the world to see, not from anyone's point of view, but from our point of view. We want to tell our own stories. As someone of Palestinian heritage, why is that? Why is there such a, is it maybe something that's inculcated when you guys are small to say, you live in an age where you can just grab a camera phone and expose the realities of a very unjust world? Where does that passion fire come from Palestinians to be so vocal from a very young age to talk about what's happening in their country?
So I'm sure you have realized by now that Palestinian people are very resilient. Their
Mm.
culture, their identity has not been erased by 75 years of occupation. And they choose to keep going. They love life. They want a free country. They want to fight for their basic rights. And as you said, it it's a mix of belief, strong belief, religious belief, plus belief in the justice of your cause. If you truly believe in that your cause is just, that you deserve what you're asking for, why would you ever stop? I am the third or fourth generation. My grandfather, um, my great grandfather left Palestine on barefoot and moved to Jordan as a refugee. I am the fourth generation. I have never stepped foot in Palestine. I'm right now living in Canada. I obviously was never able to visit Palestine, unfortunately, because of the occupation. But I would never forget. I never forgot. I still identify as a Palestinian. I tell my daughter, "You are Palestinian." My daughter was born in Canada. She's the fifth generation, but it runs in the blood. The resilience, the willing to fight for your freedoms. It runs in the blood, and I'm sure South Africans can relate to that. The willing to fight for your rights, to not give up. This is something comes from the belief that you deserve what you're asking for.
No, definitely. Just lastly, before I let you go, that is well put, by the way. Um, what message would you like to convey to aspiring journalists, from wherever in the world, who find themselves in a similar situation, or are going to find themselves in a similar situation in the future, where you're basically shut out of the newsroom, yet you're so passionate, you want to tell your story, you believe in justice and cause, and as a journalist, you taught about the ethics of a journalist, which is truth, and you want to tell your truth, but you are silenced by organization. What advice would you give to young aspiring journalists, who, for certain, as long as the Palestinian issue is happening, or any kind of injustice keeps happening in the world, you are going to find stories that are similar to yours?
Look, there's a shift these days in the job description of a journalist, in the duties of a journalist. To be told in journalism school that your job is to be neutral and to stay unengaged with the story and to only state the facts, that's old school.
Hmm.
A journalist's job is not to only state the facts. AI can do that today. Google can do that today. A journalist's job is to speak truth to power. You have a responsibility to inform your audience. You have an ethical responsibility to call out injustice when you see it. And you will face consequences. Journalists in the Middle East, in the global South, they go to jail
Hmm.
for speaking the truth to power. They're silenced and they're exiled, but they still choose to do it. If they have been adapting the Western style of neutralism, of being balanced according to Western standards, they would never speak up against authoritarian regimes. They would never say a thing in front of Assad regime, for example, committing crimes against the Syrian people. They would never say a thing to Uyghur Muslims, to stand up with Uyghur Muslims in China and so on. A journalist's job is to give a voice exactly to these people who are voiceless. If you choose not to do so and face no consequences, you would rather have a lame career, unimpactful, and so it obviously comes down to what you choose to be. I believe that an ethical journalist must face these consequences and must speak up for those people who can't speak for themselves.